Are you ready, kids?
Aye, aye, Captain!
People are scrambling. SNAP recipients in this county number 26,000 families.
You know, during this time period is a time that you really want to make sure that you're going to be able to support as many families as possible.
Okay, so the Family Resource Center is sort of like a one-stop shop for our students, parents, and community members.
We do know that 1 in 3 children in Imperial Valley are food insecure. We are doing 1,500 backpacks every Friday in over 40 schools in the valley. And it's easy to volunteer at the food bank. You go to our website, ivfoodbank.org, and there's a volunteer tab, and you just click down and you can register. We do 2-hour shifts.
Welcome to Valley VIbeZ, your show about culture, arts, and happenings in the Imperial Valley from a youth perspective. I'm Dr. Tom Tackey, the creator and executive producer of Valley VIbeZ. The federal government shutdown is hitting our youth especially hard, since so many rely on food assistance programs. When students are hungry or unsure where their next meal will come from, it becomes much harder for them to stay focused and fully engaged at school. Today, we're turning our attention to 2 local agencies that have long supported families and young people, but are now facing added challenges as the shutdown stretches on. We'll be joined by Sarah Griffin from the Imperial Valley Food Bank and Melissa Hissel from the Family Resource Center at Central Union High School, who will share how their teams are working to meet rising needs in the community. Welcome to Valley VIbeZ. As we said in our intro, this is a very special episode focusing on the Imperial Valley Food Bank and their programs and some of the challenges that they have in front of them with the shutdown as it is, and the holidays that coming at us fast. So I think what we should do is kind of go around the table here and introduce each other and who you're listening to. So,
Hello, I'm Sarah Griffin. I'm the executive director of the Imperial Valley Food Bank.
Hi, I'm Craig Lyon, principal here at Central Union High School.
Hi, I'm Luke Caesar. I'm going to be your host for today's episode.
Hi, I'm Soleil Cuevas, and I will be the co-host for today's episode.
I'll start off with a simple question just for those at home who may not know what a food bank is. Sarah, could you tell us what is the Imperial Valley Food Bank?
Sure, Luke. Good question. Food banking started about 60 years ago. The first food bank was in Phoenix, Arizona. And it grew out of local churches and smaller nonprofits who did not have room to store donated food. And this idea of a bank that a smaller organization could come to and withdraw the amount of food that they needed is where the terminology came. And so it's a large warehouse where donated food is stored. And now in its, many decades later, we have large freezers and refrigeration to store fresh produce as well as frozen protein or frozen fruits or vegetables that we get in. It isn't just shelf-stable food that's in cans, the way food banking started out. But this idea still remains. However, in our rural setting, it's a little more difficult because we don't have that many churches or agencies who have capacity, who have staff that are full-time or trucks that can come to the food bank to get food. So the burden on Imperial Valley Food Bank is much more severe in a rural area. Many of our communities don't have any nonprofits. So we are putting food on a refrigerated truck and moving it to Palo Verde and Bombay Beach and Salton Sea and Nakatillo and Winter Haven and every place in Imperial County where there are people, there is also hunger. And so that is why we are called to get that food to those people.
So even with all of the farms that surround us every day, it's difficult for us to be able to stock the food bank.
Yes. Well, there are lots of things there. We don't just eat vegetables. And our crops are harvested for a certain amount of the year, but not all year.
Right.
And people need a balanced diet. So even if we had produce all year round, we would still need other things: dairy and meat and beans and rice and those things that we don't grow here. Our local agriculture is big ag.
Right.
We have very large fields, and everything is harvested and sent out of the valley to distribution centers, and very little of it stays here in Imperial County. And as agriculture has become more mechanized and requires less workers, we see less people being employed by agriculture. But we don't see new jobs coming up to replace that in our community.
Right. One of the big things that I'm very curious about, and I'm sure some of the listeners are too, is for, I believe, the last 2 weeks now, we've been in a federal government shutdown. So I want to ask, how does the federal government shutdown affect your guys' work?
Well, it's been crazy. We normally are very busy. We're in a different city of the valley every day of the month. But we saw in October federal workers who were not getting paychecks. And we've seen yesterday the count was 173 families of federal workers who were not paid in October.
Wow.
But what's happening now is SNAP recipients in this county number 26,000 families, or 50,000 people. Now, think about that. Our population is 180,000, 50,000 of which are on some sort of subsidy for food, which also speaks to our economy and not enough diversification in jobs, not enough availability of jobs for those people to have an income that can sustain their family. So now what's happening is because the government continues to be shut down, there are no benefits for those families in November, and people are scrambling. And we have seen an uptick. Just yesterday, we saw 60 families at the food bank. And we don't normally serve food out of the food bank because we're moving it to other places in the county, but people are coming to us. So we know we're going to be incredibly impacted in November. We are preparing to serve double the amount of food, but we have to also manage our resources so that we have food in December and January and February. The state of California has provided some funding for us to be able to purchase food, but we can't spend it all now because we're not guaranteed to get any more until next September.
Right.
So we have to be good managers of our resources and make sure that we have food for the long term.
I got to imagine just the logistics of handling double the amount of food has got to be another huge challenge.
Yes. We are definitely seeing more people come to each distribution. And so we're increasing the amount of food we would take to each of them. But a lot of our food is fresh or perishable, so it isn't like we're going to give them double at that time. And also the fact that we have a lot of seniors who can't carry any more food than we're giving them at a distribution. So it's going to be doubling up on more times that people are going to be able to get food from us. And we haven't figured that all out yet, I'll be honest with you, but we're monitoring our calls, and we're going to be as nimble as possible to try to identify other ways to get food to people.
So it's a very complicated situation, and there are a lot of tiny factors that kind of build up to the whole. But what would you say the biggest challenge your team faces when federal funding or supply chains are affected?
Well, just the idea of it.
Yeah.
I mean, just pause for a moment and think that, the federal government, which I have heard it boiled down to if all the food assistance in the United States were 20 bags of food, 19 would come from the federal government. So the charitable response in the United States is that one bag of 20. So the federal government is not doing the 19, and a rural, undersourced, underfunded food bank is going to make up for that. It's not possible. We will do everything we can, but just the concept of it is more than anyone can really manage.
Yeah.
I don't know if that answers your question, but it's almost preposterous that we can somehow fill that void.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're week 2 into this shutdown already. So far, have you gained or heard of any stories that you would be interested in sharing?
Well, I think the 173 families in October was telling.
Mm-hmm.
People who have had a paycheck, for most of their life and really don't know how to access help. They've not had to ask for help. And so the humility it takes to come in and go through that process, we're trying to be as welcoming as possible because everybody in their life has been hungry at some time. This is not new to most people. It's painful, and hopefully it's as brief as possible.
So, Mr. Lyon, to you, I would like to ask if you have seen firsthand as the principal of a high school that doesn't necessarily have a great demographic of students, have you seen any students directly affected by this government shutdown or by the lack of support for the Imperial Valley Food Bank?
Well, I mean, every year we deal with students who are in need, and I know that we do our best to support them. And obviously the connection and support of the Imperial Valley Food Bank has been tremendous for years. This is my 10th year, going into my 11th year as principal, and we've worked with them every year because you know that there are families that need support. And we, do our best to, as a student body, to find ways that we can do by working in, a food drive and doing some of those things. I know that the government shutdown now will start to affect, I think, the fact that it's just kind of started a couple of weeks. We're not seeing the big effect, but how long it will prolong will kind of be telling to us. And I know that now we're getting into, the Thanksgiving and the Christmas break and dealing with all of those times. I think that's the time that we're really going to see some impacts. And I know that we're going to do our best to try to support all our students as much as possible. And as I said, we hope that we can continue to support the food bank as much as we can.
And even without a shutdown, our backpack program kind of elevates during the holiday season, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I know this time of the year, it's we try to do a little bit more. And I know that that's the challenge that the Imperial Valley Food Bank is going to have because, during this time period is a time that you really want to make sure that you're going to be able to support as many families as possible. And now with the shutdown, that adds that extra burden to try to keep that up. So, as you said, every year around this time, we see an increase in the amount of support that we need to give our students.
Right. And for those listeners that don't know, the Central Union High School does have a what we call a backpack program where we have backpacks with non-perishable foods that a student can pick up at Student Services?
Yeah, we work with our counselors and our Family Resource Center, and they're able to to pick up backpacks when they need it.
Right, and these backpacks are they look just like a regular backpack, so there's no stigma or anything for students that are picking up that food for the weekend or whatever it may be, and it's a really cool program. I'm really proud to be part of a school that provides that type of support.
Are those coming from the food bank?
Yeah, my understanding is that we're working with the food bank on that.
There you go.
Every year we have and we set it up and work with them.
Can I just say a little bit more about that? We are doing 1,500 backpacks every Friday in over 40 schools in the Valley.
Incredible.
Which tells you a little bit about childhood hunger.
So, right now, have you seen how are levels of volunteering? Are they the same? Are they elevated?
Volunteering is getting better. It was very slow during the pandemic. Of course, we had robust volunteers beforehand, but most of them were seniors or retired folks. And that all went away during the pandemic. And so coming back, it has been very slow. So we're finally, here in almost 2026, we're up to, I'd say, a robust level again of volunteers. But that said, it's never enough.
Of course.
And it's easy to volunteer at the food bank. You go to our website, ivfoodbank.org, and there's a volunteer tab, and you just click down and you can register. We do 2-hour shifts. It's very easy to come into the warehouse, do 2 hours, help prepare food to go out to a distribution.
So, for all of these volunteers, what role do they play?
Well, food banks are amazing in the sense that almost all the food is donated. And a lot of the labor is volunteer.
I see.
So as an organization, our impact is massive, but on a very small budget because we're not paying for all that labor.
Right.
And we're not paying for all that food. But we're able to give out, last year was almost 8 million pounds of food in a year, which provides every person we see with 20 meals a month. And we're seeing 25,000 people a month. So the impact of all that volunteer and all that donated food is massive to our community. And, I'm honored to be affiliated with it because it's an amazing way to take all these resources, talent and time and treasure and food, and get them out to people who really need it.
You are listening to Valley Vibes and our discussion with Sarah Griffin, the Executive Director of the Imperial Valley Food Bank. All Valley Vibes episodes are available on the Spartan Sound Productions YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and iTunes.
So I know you mentioned earlier that there is some needed expertise when it comes to volunteering and that you need volunteers that are 18 or older. Is there any way that young people, high school students, for example, could help get involved or assist in any way, shape, or form?
Good question. So because we are a professional warehouse, we have OSHA standards that require an 18-year-old. Is this going to work? It's okay. Yeah. That requires 18-year-old or older persons to be in the warehouse. However, we know that high school kids really want to help and are eager to do that, and also that there's community service hours that many high school kids need. And so we are working to have some Saturday hours that would allow that. It's hard on our staff because they're working 5 days a week, and so we have to sort of figure out how to do that sixth day. And we haven't quite figured it out yet, but we will.
Going back on volunteering, just in general for overall knowledge, is there anything that you would like high schoolers or just younger people in general to know about food insecurity and the role that you play and the overall message behind it?
That's a good question, Luke. What would I want you to know? I think students have a pretty amazing impact on our community. And so food insecurity is pretty ugly. And it's not something people want to talk about. But I would say maybe being sensitive to your friends, because we do know that 1 in 3 children in Imperial Valley are food insecure. And so just maybe looking at things a little differently, sharing your food, being aware when other people don't have lunch money or, whatever those signs are, there's hunger here, and people do not want to admit it. It's not cool to be hungry. And so just being, I think, hypersensitive to your friends and helping however you can to make sure that they have what they need and let them know that there is a food bank. We don't know what's going on in people's homes. And we want to make sure there's food for all kinds of situations, whether it's, grandparents raising their grandkids on a fixed income, whether it's, absentee parents or parents who are working too much that they're just not home to cook for kids. We don't know what's going on, but we know it manifests in food insecurity. And so just, I think, being aware and doing what you can.
So, okay. Working at the food bank, I'm sure, is not always easy or very easy to deal with all of those people who don't have food security. And I would like to know what keeps you guys motivated through all of those challenging times.
That's a very nice question, Soleil. I say about this work, it's hard work, but it's good work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
There's a satisfaction in it.
Mm-hmm.
And I have such an amazing team of people that work with me through amazing odds and repetition. And sometimes you're like, oh, I got to go. I got to drive another hour and a half to Palo Verde or whatever. They do it with gusto and resolve, and they feel good about, what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a good team effort. I have such good people that I work with, and I think we kind of motivate each other, even when it's tough.
If the current state of the shutdown continues on, what would be one of the best ways that the community could help? What's the best or most important type of support that matters most right now?
So it's always difficult to say, but it's money. And it's money because we purchase wholesale. Food comes on a pallet in, massive amounts. We buy truckloads of food because we're serving so many people. Individual cans are not going to be helpful right now. We're seeing 25,000 already. We know we're going to see more, during the shutdown. And so we need as much food as possible at the cheapest price possible. So to give you an idea, we just purchased a truckload of frozen chicken because we need protein in this valley. I think it was $145,000 for a truckload of chicken, which lasts about a month and a half. So it's massive amounts of food. And that money comes from the state of California, thank you very much, through a program called Cal Food, which has been expanded in the right time to make up for the lack of federal funding. So, as I said earlier, we still have to manage that amount. We don't get more. But we are being very sensitive to try to have protein with every month.
To our listeners, you might hear like some musical types of sounds and things in the background occasionally here on Valley Vibes, and we share a common wall with the choir room, and so we're a hard-working school here in El Centro, and we're just thankful that we have a recording studio to bring you this show, and it's good for you to be able to hear that. We're doing a lot of other stuff too, but anyway, I just thought I'd jump in and mention that.
So as we're sort of nearing the end a bit or coming closer to closing, I do want to talk about being able to go help and serve your community. So as a high school student, I've been able to go out and have a lot of different opportunities to serve And I really enjoy it, and I feel for a lot of students, they are motivated to serve sometimes because of the assignment, right? But it's a lot more than that. The work itself is extremely fulfilling, and whether it doesn't have to be some special occasion or because you need 10 hours of community service a quarter. It really is fulfilling work, and whether it's through donation or community service, I think you should try it out. If you've never tried it before, if you haven't had the privilege to serve during high school, then it's really never too late to start.
Nice.
And as a principal, I think that is one of the things that we hope to instill in all of our students is that it's bigger than just Central, and it's even bigger than just the Imperial Valley. I mean, our El Centro. There's so many things that our students can do to make a difference, and as we say, every little bit counts. And I think that's what we need to understand is that to be a great individual in the community, it's bigger than just worrying about yourself. You really have to think about others. And I know sometimes that's a challenge because many of our students are just trying to make it on their own. And we see students that will, are just barely trying to make it on their own, and they're still going out there doing things. So I hope that all of our students take an opportunity to really give back to their community in whatever way they can. And obviously this is one way that they can and to support the students. And I hope that our students, I think one of the questions earlier was just about what can they do, and I think a lot of that is to support their fellow classmates and the people in the community. And when they see something that somebody needs some assistance, being able to come to an adult or somebody in our community, we have wonderful counselors, our FRC, anything that we can do to reach out to that student or that family is important. So being able to voice that and don't just look the other way. It's like, no, we have a way that we can help them and give them the support with that. And that's why the connection with the Imperial Valley Food Bank and the support that we can give them is always great, even a little bit at a time. But obviously we want to try to be able to help as many as possible.
Absolutely. I could not agree more with that whole message. So as we come to a close here, I would like to see if you could share one last time on how to volunteer if you are able to. Where could we find you, your social media? How can you sign up to volunteer?
ivfoodbank.org. It works for Instagram. It works for our website. There is a section there for volunteering, and there's just a drop down, and you sign up. And we like 2-hour shifts. It's not too much, and some people it's hard for them to be on their feet. It's not hard work. It's just sort of, packing things, but it's fun, and there's a great, camaraderie with those who are also helping. We do have opportunities to go along with the food bank out into the community and serve people. But we like to start in the warehouse and then move to like a higher level of volunteering. So there are opportunities that come from that as well. Volunteering is something I think that we really need now. Post-pandemic, we were insulated for so long, and we forgot how to be in community with each other. And we're seeing some things come out, some not good behaviors from people, not being able to deal with things not going their way. And I just feel like we really need to get back out there and meet new people and work with them for a common goal. And the thing about working at the food bank is it's safe and it's productive. And I think it's a good first step for some folks to maybe flex that volunteer muscle that they haven't used for a while post-pandemic. And so I would encourage anyone who can to get out there again and feel that sort of wave of goodness that comes from volunteering in the community.
Yes, I think both me and Soleil here can agree that we felt that wave. It is a great feeling. And on that note, I would just like to end off with one big last thank you for our principal, Mr. Lyon, for being here, and of course, our special guest, Sarah.
Thank you, Luke. Pleasure to be here. And you too, Soleil.
Thank you.
You are listening to Valley Vibes and our discussion with Sarah Griffin, the Executive Director of the Imperial Valley Food Bank. All Valley Vibes episodes are available on the Spartan Sound Productions YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and iTunes.
All right, so hi, my name is Luke Caesar. I am your host.
My name is Soleil Cuevas. I am your co-host.
And this is our In the Field segment at the Family Resource Center.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Melissa Heitzel, and I'm the Family Resource Center Coordinator for Central Union High School District.
So starting us off, what do you guys exactly do here at the Family Resource Center?
Okay, so the Family Resource Center is sort of like a one-stop shop for our students, parents, and community members. We do bring in resources from our community involving partners, other agencies. We provide workshops for parents, families, again, community members, and also we help them apply for either Medi-Cal, CalFresh, if a family is in need of insurance for medical appointments or they need assistance with transportation. Those are all services that we can link them to here through the Family Resource Center. We also have agencies that come in to answer those questions for our parents and students, such as San Diego Regional Center. We do have Intercare, Legacy Medical. We have parenting classes to support our parents. We do provide referrals for outside agencies as well, whether it's domestic violence or legal assistance, any sort of assistance that we can provide for our community members. We try our best here to link them to those services.
Gotcha.
Okay. Sorry. For our listeners out there, the Family Resource Center is a really great place if you're a student of the Central Union High School District. That includes Central Union students, Southwest, Desert Oasis, and all of those other schools. And you have access to all of these services for free if you're ever in need of any of them. So it's a really great place to check out, and go ahead and ask your principal or your counselors about that information.
Just to add on that, thank you for going a little more in depth, but we do provide, I am a district employee, so I do provide services for students that are also in transition, and that could be students that their housing situation looks a little bit different than other students, specifically through the McKinney-Vento Act, and also foster youth. Youth that are on probation, military families, we can refer to the migrant as well. So there's different services that we can provide directly to the students at the school sites.
So the episode that this segment is a part of is an episode where we went and interviewed the head of the IV Food Bank, and we talked to them about how the federal government shutdown was affecting them. So how is the shutdown affecting you guys?
Well, thank you for that question. So the shutdown has affected a lot of our community members. It's affected our students, our parents, our families, in the sense that a lot of the families that rely on their CalFresh benefits, they're not receiving them for the month of November until they receive notice that they will be issued, along with government families that are not receiving any form of payment at this time, right? And so for those families, or any family in need really, they can come by the Family Resource Center. We do work with the IV Food Bank, and we have the backpack program, which allows us to provide food for the students and the families for over the weekend, right, when they're not able to have their school meals. And additionally, we can assist with the application for the IV Food Bank food distribution, the monthly distribution. We can submit the applications here through the FRC. And also, we have resources that we have been provided with through the Imperial County Department of Social Services. We do provide them with a list of food distribution sites. And so hopefully with that, we can help more and more families that have been directly affected by the shutdown.
So, on the topic of these food services, where might students and parents of our community find access to them?
That's a great question. So they can come here to the Family Resource Center. We're located at 1014 Brighton Avenue in El Centro. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5, and we do close for lunch from 12 to 1. And additionally, the other sites that we have been referring our families to would be the Ivy Food Bank, right, which is off of Ayton. There's Catholic Charities. They offer food also Monday through Friday. Christ Community Church, they also provide food assistance, and that's weekly on Fridays. There's a distribution site with Countryside Family Apartments. That's the second Tuesday. We have House of Hope through Catholic Charities as well. That's daily. Salvation Army. We also have St. Mary's that provides assistance, and that's once a month, once or twice a month, depending on the need. The next one will be Tuesday, November 18th. But we can provide families with the list of these food distribution sites at any time that they come in here to the Family Resource Center, or they can find this information on our website, our Central Union High School District website under Family Resources.
Okay. And thank you so much for that. For anyone that is struggling with these food services or anything of that matter, as you heard, there are a lot of places that you can go to and reach out for a lot of help. And if you need it, feel free to reach out and go get those services.
So another one of the questions that we also asked the Ivy Food Bank was, how has there been an influx of people coming to the Family Resource Center?
Yes, most definitely. We've had, I would say, at least 2 to 3 new families coming in for assistance every day. And again, we're open, Monday through Friday, so it definitely has been an increase. We also provide the food at the sites for students to pick up, on their way out. It's been reported to me that they also have had an increase at the school sites directly, but we do provide it here for families as well in case students don't want to pick up and the parents want to pick up themselves, or students want to come directly to the FRC. We are available, and there has been, maybe 3 families and 2 students coming in daily to pick up.
The FRC provides a variety of resources, but some individuals might have some trouble reaching out because of the stigma they've placed on the program and the kinds of people they assist. Is there anything that you would like to say about this to remove some of that preconceived notion?
Yes, absolutely. So our services are confidential services for our students and our families. I like to add, when I meet with students and I meet with families, that we have other district staff that is housed at the Family Resource Center. And so walking into the Family Resource Center doesn't mean that they're coming in specifically for services regarding either, like their mental health or food assistance or housing assistance or whatever it may be. We also offer other workshops like yoga, Pilates, things of that sort that, we welcome anyone from our parents, students, community to come in and participate. We do provide releases of information if we ever need to communicate the needs or the referrals to outside agencies. But overall, our services are confidential. And if a parent or a student needs to meet, one-on-one in a more private setting, we offer that as well. Some of our families or students are comfortable with, coming in and just asking for, hey, I'm here for the backpack program, right in our reception area, and they're open to it, and that's perfectly fine. But if they require that more one-on-one private, session interview, then that is also available for them.
And wrapping it up here, I would like to ask, how is the FRC's funding going? I know for the food bank, they've mentioned that somewhere mid-November that they're going to be having trouble with funding. Is that the same for you guys, or how is that going?
And so in regards to the outside agencies that donate to the FRC, right? For example, like the food bank, it's my understanding like the backpack program, that will continue. We haven't received any notices from the food bank indicating that as of sometime in November that will be over. I believe they they will sustain the program until the end of the school year, at least the backpack program. This might be in regards to families that are receiving additional assistance due to their CalFresh benefits being either paused or just not receiving them just in general. But additionally, through the FRC, as I had mentioned before, I am the homeless liaison and the foster youth liaison, so specifically through the McKinney-Vento Act. So I do have some families that do require additional support with food or with other services such as like toiletries or school supplies, etc., for students that are part of the McKinney-Vento program. And so for those students, the district does have funding that is additional to the one provided by outside agencies as far as like the donations for food. So as far as those students that are in these programs, they should not be affected at all, at least until the end of this school year. Everything has been allocated for, and so we should be able to provide that support.
Gotcha. And that's about it for us. I thank you very much for being able to take this opportunity to speak with us. And any last things to say?
No, thank you so much, Luke and Soleil. You've been wonderful. Thank you for your patience with me, and I appreciate everything that you do for us and for helping us spread the word for our community and students, parents to learn about the Family Resource Center. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening to Valley Vibes. We hope you enjoyed it. This and all Valley Vibes episodes are available on the Spartan Sound Productions YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify, Apple, and iTunes.